everybody, it's Hannah and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be filming a Top 5 Wednesday. This week's theme is Top 5 Books That I'm Never Going to Read. The first book that I'm going to be showing you is the sequel for Easy. This is Easy that I have here by Tamara Weber. I don't even remember what the second book is called. There might even be a third. I know that there's a second one for sure, but normally with books like this, the second one is the same story from the guy's perspective, so I really feel no point in reading that. So I'm just going to stick with keeping this one and having loved this one, because I feel like if I read the second one, it'll kind of ruin it for me. So the sequel for Easy by Tamara Weber. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. And the next book that I have is The Story of the Trapp Family Singers by Maria Augusta Trapp. You guys have probably never heard of this before, but this is the true story that The Sound of Music was based off of. And the reason that I have this book is because my grandma and I found it one time at a thrift store, and we got it because The Sound of Music is one of my favorite things in the entire world. I'd say it's probably in my top 10 to top 5 favorite movies of all time. So that's why we have this. It's more for sentimental reasons. I mean, I might read it one day, but as of right now, I'm probably not going to read this, but I do hold on to it for sentimentality. And then we have one that I'm going to have to explain just a little bit, and it's the short novel of John Steinbeck, by John Steinbeck, obviously. That's this copy that I have. The reason that I'm not going to read this is because this is a super, super old copy. I have a lot of his books, like the stories, individually. I collect the Penguin editions with like the orange spines. I have 4 or 5 of them right now because I love John Steinbeck. Fun fact, if you didn't know, the first book that I read by him was Of Mice and Men, and that's kind of what I named my channel after, with Of Books and Girls. It's kind of what inspired it a little bit because I really, really love John Steinbeck. So yeah, I collect his stories and read them occasionally when I get the time, because classics do take me a little bit longer, like most people, obviously. But back to my point, this copy is extremely old. It is from 1953. So yeah, the copyright for this, 1953. So this one's old and it's kind of falling apart a little bit. The pages are very fragile. So yeah, this is more for decoration on my shelf than anything because I like John Steinbeck. So. And up next, I have one of my friends that's going to hate me for this because she loved most of the books in this series. And I read the first one and I loved the first one. The first one is actually one of my... curtain. The first one is actually one of my favorite books. It goes on my favorites bookshelf. Favorite bookshelf? I really can't talk today. Goodness. And that is the rest of the books in the Beautiful Creature series. Now, like I said, when I read this first book, I loved it. I thought it was so good. It was a little cheesy and cliche, but I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the characters. But I have heard from everybody except for a couple of my friends that the rest of the series gets worse. So I don't want to bother going out and buying the books if I know that I'm not going to like them. I mean, maybe one day if I see them at a thrift store or something, I'll pick them up. But as of right now, I do not have intentions of continuing on with this series. And last but not least, we have Hamlet by William Shakespeare. This also goes for most of his stories because, like I said before about classics, they take me longer to get through, but then add in the language barrier with Shakespeare, it makes it a lot more difficult to read. I do have the No Fear Shakespeare edition where it's like this side's like the old version and this side's like a modern version, but Shakespeare is very dense for me, and I know that I'm going to be an English major, and the fact that I'm saying that I have issues with Shakespeare is probably going to cause a lot of conflict in my life, but Shakespeare is difficult for me. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Romeo and Juliet was like right up my alley. I studied this book freshman year, like frontwards, backwards. I could probably recite most of this for you, actually. Not going to do that. That would take quite a bit of time. But I love Romeo and Juliet. But Hamlet is another story for me, so maybe one day. So that's it, you guys, for Top 5 Wednesday. Yeah, so those are 5 books that I'm never going to read. So if you liked this, you should check out the Goodreads group. I might try to link it down below. There's new topics for every single Wednesday. They're a lot of fun. So yeah, I guess that's it, you guys.